So hi, my name is Samson Goddy. I am the co-founder for the Open Source Community Africa and also one of the maintainer for Sugar Labs. So the Open Source Community Africa is a project that I started with a friend, including some other folks down in Africa, where we encourage people to contribute to open source. But also I play as one of the co-maintainer for a project called Sugar Labs, which is a software project that enable kids to have a learning environment where they could, share concept learning, learning mathematics and science, in the concept of having like a Linux distro. So that's basically, what I do in open source. Yeah, on Sugar Labs. So Sugar Labs, like I said, it's a really huge project. It started from a popular OOPC project, so it's called One Laptop Per Child, and the idea was to give developing countries an idea on how to use computer, but in a more creative or in classrooms. So I'm referring to an operating system that targets from 8 years old to up to 18 years old. So I got the computer when I was like 8, and so I grew up in the ecosystem and then became a core maintainer for the project. So what we do is to keep up that mission. That's to enable children or kids that love science and technology to just basically have a desktop environment in your own, a way they could be creative about it and use software to learn how to code. So particularly one of the cool things that we have in Sugar Labs is something called Music Blocks. So Music Blocks is one of a great way that you could learn music, understand the concept of music, but while learning the concept of programming. There's also things like Total Add. There's also great things like PP. There's like a bunch of activities just like your normal Windows and your Apple or your iPhones or your Android. We basically have our own way of our own app store where you can have a collection of tools. So Sugar Labs is the desktop with just a collections of activities, which in our word we just basically means app anyways. So yeah, so that's what Sugar Labs is all about, and yeah. So on contributions, we are looking for literally different type of contributions. Again, we are 100% open source. The project is free, so we are looking for our skill set. But basically, at the moment, we're looking for people with knowledge of Python. So if you know more Python, you're very, very welcome to come in. Also, we're also looking for people in JavaScript because the Sugar Labs ecosystem is divided into two. The web side of Sugar Labs are heavily dependent on Python, while the JavaScript rather, why the desktop side of Sugar Labs is heavily dependent on Python, specifically things like PyGTK, which is the GNOME toolkit of the Python version. And then for JavaScript, is just basically like if you could use JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, you're highly welcome. Then on the PHP side, I think that's more on our app store, which we use PHP on. So yeah, so we welcome any form of contribution. So if you can code, if you can design, if you could use some design tools, we are looking for more designers to come into the platform. If you're really great also in technical writing, we're also looking forward to that because we're looking for ways to make sure that our documentations are much easier for people to come into the organization to be able to get started. So every form of contributions is great. Just let us know by going to the docs, which is the github.com/sugarlabs/sugarlabs-docs. Yeah, so how to get started in Sugar Lab? So it's pretty easy. The first is the highly recommended way is to go to the Sugar Labs docs, which is github.com/sugarlabs/sugar-docs. The reason why this is very important is because we explained what the project is all about. And then we define things that you can contribute to, so you don't really get confused. So if you want to work on some chunk of code, you could, there's a straight way you could do that. If you want to work on documentation, there's a straight way you could do that. If you want to work on design, there's a straight way you can do that. And if you have a general question on how you want to contribute something else that is not the docs, there's also a way that you can reach out to the community, and then we could create that for you. So that we are very welcoming. We're looking forward to receive as much contributions as we can.